Welcome to DasGeek. Yes, this is Windows 10. Well, technically Windows 10s. Do not throw stones yet. There's a reason behind this madness here. So I've been playing with the Surface Go, which you're seeing on your screen right now. And I've been putting Linux desktop environments and operating systems onto the device. We've had Endeavor on here, which is my favorite so far. We had Ubuntu Mate, which ran pretty good on the Surface Go as well. And then I got stumped. I couldn't boot any other ISO, Linux ISO for some reason. Everything stayed the same in the BIOS. It just would not boot to any of the USBs I created. So I found the original Windows install and reinstalled Windows. And I thought, I haven't even checked out Windows on this Microsoft Go. I didn't even give it a chance. So let's take a look at it. So I thought there's some interesting findings here as I've been playing with this. I did not realize how far Windows 10s goes to basically keep you in Microsoft's closed garden or tied to their store. Now, this is something that generally we give a lot of, flack to Apple for, this closed garden aspect, but I didn't see this coming from Microsoft. This is very interesting if this is a sign of things to come, because Windows 10s is very limiting in what you can do and what software you can use. For instance, if you want to use an IDE, so let's start with this. There's so many things I want to get into here, like with the privacy settings and all of that. And I will try to get all through everything as quickly as I can. But if you go to the software store, this is where you can get software. So for instance, we go and we type in, we want a browser here. So naturally, Microsoft, and they've been in trouble a lot for their anti-competitiveness that they have. For instance, having every computer automatically ship with Microsoft Internet Explorer, and keeping other software from being able to easily be installed. And Windows 10s kind of takes it to a whole new level of doing that. Like, you could at least always go download Firefox and other browsers, but not here. I'm going to show you. You can't. And in the store, of course, you don't have many options here when it comes to browsers. You can see it always recommends games. That seems to be the whole focus of this tablet, is these dumb games they have in the store. Everywhere you go on this tablet, there are games, which is interesting because the Surface Go and the Surface line is, it has the tablet functionality, but one of the big pieces to this is productivity potential, because you have the nice keyboard and things, as I've shown in other videos. So you've got some browsers I've personally never heard of in here and would be afraid to install, just me personally, and some kind of like off-branded versions like Firefox search options and some weird things in here that I've never heard of before, but no Firefox, Brave browser, or anything like that you can install. So you basically just have Internet Explorer. And of course, you see the big advertising, the browser built for Windows 10. It's faster, safer, and optimized for your PC. So this is where they want you to stay. So you get this big advertising when you search for that. So okay, no problem. We just download Firefox like we normally would, or a different browser that we want to use, and install it. So here's the Firefox installer. And what you're going to see is really interesting. You're going to get this pop-up. For security and performance, this mode of Windows only runs verified apps from the store. This helps protect your PC and keeps it running smoothly. Do you still want to run this unverified app? Well, we're going to try here in a moment and see what happens, because I've not tried. I'm not even sure what it does. I guess you're just less secure. But you can see the whole idea. And we know most people don't even believe in using strong passwords, let alone are going to ignore a message like that from Microsoft of, hey, this is a security issue. You want to stay away from anything but what's in our store. Also, Steam setup's the same way. You're not going to be able to install Steam. So you're not going to be able to, I played Steam games on this tablet, showing people that can be done within Linux. But here you get the exact same message if you try to install this, that sorry, it's not part of the S mode in the store things. But perhaps the most fascinating, look at this one. For security and performance, Windows 10 in S mode runs Microsoft verified apps. What was interesting is, even if you're looking for like an IDE, like you want, to code in Microsoft's own Visual Studio Code tool. It's not here in the store, right? Visual Studio. So, well, technically it is here in the store. Well, it shows at least that option in the store when you start to search for it. But when you click on it, it brings you to this page. So naturally, you would just download the community version because this is the IDE. This is where I want to do my coding and be productive here. And so I'm going to go ahead and download this. Let's run it as soon as it's done running. And there's going to pop up for security and performance. This mode of Windows only runs verified apps from the store. Your own app isn't verified. Are you kidding me? So basically, they don't even verify their own apps in their store. Their store is a complete mess of kind of knockoff apps that are, like we saw with the Firefox thing. Like these people kind of copy something that's close to the name. It just doesn't leave you with this feeling of extreme security that you would expect. And things like Krita and stuff are charged. They're $9 in the store. So if you want something like that professional drawing app there, you're going to have to pay for an open source software, which I thought was weird. There's no Office suites that you can install except Office 365, of course, if you want to pay for. So if you want to use only Office or LibreOffice, good luck. You can't, at least in this mode. There's no OBS screen recorder. There's no streaming software. You do get Paint 3D, which looks like someone's first attempt at creating a Paint application. You don't have GIMP. You have no Zoom. You do get Teams if you're interested in that. There is Telegram. So there are a couple of apps in there that I use, but there were so many things that I couldn't find. No Pia VPN, for instance. So good luck on a VPN option. Bitwarden was there, so that was good. The programs that are on here do feel optimized for tablets. Some of the stuff within Linux, for instance, when you would open it, it would be smaller or too big and things like that. So those issues. And of course, the cameras and everything works out of the box using Windows versus Linux on this tablet because, well, I would hope so. It was made for Windows. Let's try to go ahead and bypass the S mode. Now, I've not actually done this, so you get to see my experience live. I'm wondering if they charge you for it or if it just automatically unlocks. So do you still want to run this unverified app? So switch out of S mode. You may want to think twice about switching out of S mode, especially if performance and peace of mind are your top priorities. I like chaos and terrible performance. So let me out of this mode. S mode was designed for security, speed, and simplicity, offering thousands of Microsoft verified apps, except for its own apps that it doesn't even verify, and Microsoft Edge, the fast and safe web browser. Please note you will not be able to return to S mode once you've switched, which that's kind of messed up, right? Like they won't even like uninstall the third-party stuff and get you back into S mode if you thought it was a chaotic mess and you hate it. But all right, so it says it's free. That's good. That's a good sign. Switched out of S mode barely has any check marks, but we're still going to do it. Even though it's not the right thing to do here, we're going to switch out of this S mode. You're all set. All right, so now that's pretty, at least they made it very easy to get out of S mode. I'm pretty happy that they didn't come up and be like, oh, now you got to buy some professional version or something like that. I think the whole thing is kind of sleazy still. I get that they're kind of trying to do a Chromebook thing or an Apple thing, but they actually have choices there. Like they don't force you into these fake security messages, and their own apps actually work. Like Google's own stuff actually works on the Chromebook versus Microsoft here. Like, hey, we won't even let you use our Visual Studio IDE program, which we created on your own machine. Kind of silly. So now we've got Firefox and we can go on installing GIMP and all of the other software. There is so much going on. This literally takes up 75% of my screen. It reminds me of GNOME. I mean, it's fine. Some people like this workflow with the tiles and stuff. Personally, I can't stand it with all of this. And I guess you could probably go turn it off and I can resize this down to something more reasonable here, which is nice. So they do have some customization of the menu built out of the box. The one problem, though, is just all of these added things in here that I don't normally wouldn't normally want scrolling or playing on here. What else here? We've got Xbox console connection. We've got Netflix, Hulu, Spotify. So they're kind of, selling some space here for other people to advertise their products. LinkedIn, you've got a giant surface. And of course, all this is customizable. So I guess it's not terrible. But I did try to do some video editing in their video editor. That was a terrible experience. So again, going back to Windows 10 S, I have no idea how you could be productive with this device in S mode. It really is just not well thought out and way too limiting. They need to have a verification system that extends out to third party, and certainly need to verify their own apps. So then we've got Access, Calculator, Cortana, Fitbit stuff, Hulu, all these things that I don't want. So let's try to uninstall. Let's get rid of Office 365 if it will let us. So it gives me the options here. It's finally coming up. I was getting worried there. It's only showing 3 things. Let's see if we can find Office 365. There's Office. Okay, so it's not called Office 365 here. It's just Office. So let me see if I can get rid of that. Cool. So it's allowing me to get rid of Office, which should then take away all of these icons, but doesn't. Let's see if Word is now gone. It is not. It is very much still there. So I removed Office. I have no idea what that actually removed because I still have Word and things. So let's see. Maybe we have to find Microsoft Word, or is it named something else here as well? I'm still looking. This isn't, again, a very well thought out interface. I wish it would just let me search for a specific app. Maybe I'm just not seeing it. Maybe you search over here under find a setting to find an app. I don't know. Microsoft Edge. Can we get rid of that? No, we cannot get rid of Microsoft Edge. It has to stay on. Great. So probably have to hack the kernel or something to get rid of that. Let's go ahead and get rid of this. And I have no... Oh, here's the search way at the top. Okay, let's see. Office. Was it me or was that not showing up before? I don't get it. Microsoft Office desktop apps. What does that include? It's called Office 365 down there, but I don't know. Let's see what it gets rid of if we delete this. If this finally gets rid of Word. 40 megabytes, so... Still, okay, so that finally got rid of. So at least it lets us get rid of that. It won't let us get rid of Edge. So it does force Edge to stay on, which is kind of interesting. But does let you get rid of at least Office 365. And we can probably come in here and at least remove Edge from our existence here, which I would recommend for anybody be using Firefox. And it did pin. Okay, so that's pinned to the store. Great. So now let's look at privacy. So when I first did the install, it went through all of these privacy options, which I have to give props to Microsoft on. It gave me lots of things. Do I want a location tracking, geo tracking? It worded it in such a way that somebody who's not technical might be like, oh no, I've got to leave that on. Some apps may not work if you don't have this turned on type of thing. But, at least they gave the options to turn that stuff off. Now, I do have some issues with Windows. I had a situation where I had done an update in Windows 10 back when I was using it, and back when Windows 10 really first kind of launched. And when they'd done an update, all my privacy settings had reverted back to being on. So, and I've heard other people state that that's still an issue sometimes, and that's pretty concerning. They should respect the privacy options that you choose, but at least they gave the option here. But then I went into the privacy settings here again, like you're seeing, and there's other things turned on here that I don't quite understand, like let websites provide locally relevant content by accessing my language list. Websites provide locally relevant. So if, there's no explanation here. I don't know if turning this off means all of the sites I'm going to see are going to be in Spanish. What is this actually doing? What information is it providing to the websites? I'm not sure about this. You can see at least respected and kept the advertising ID that I turned off. Let Windows track app launches to improve start and search results. Again, is that sending it back to Microsoft? Is it storing it locally? I can only assume. And this wasn't an option in the privacy settings because I turned everything off when I did the first install. So I can turn that off. Show me suggested content in the settings app. I don't know what that means. There's no information. Maybe you have to go through Learn More and read a bunch of stuff. But let's go into online speech recognition. You can see I turned that off. And then inking and typing. So this is a new setting again that must have not been an option. When this is switched off, your personal typing and inking dictionary will be cleared. Typing suggestions and handwriting recognition using the system dictionary will continue to work. So I guess it's just clearing your history. It's not allowing you to turn the personalization off there. Diagnostics and feedback, you only have basic here. So it's always going to send information. It's not giving you the option to fully turn that off. That's what I would love to see. Instead, just send basic information about me or send full diagnostics in here as another option. It's just a lot to maintain here. And then you have another thing, which is a privacy dashboard on top of this. So this is another area you go into in Microsoft to turn off other services and information that they've gathered on you. And we make Firefox a default app. Looks like it will allow us to. That's good. Before you switch, you better try out Microsoft Edge. Switch anyway. All right. A lot trying to keep you into their browser. Sign in with Microsoft. Manage your browse data, review location data, clear your search history, all kinds of other privacy ad settings and things that if you sign into your account that you can manage in a completely separate place, apparently. So they don't want to make this easy. They want your information. That's why Windows 10 was free for a lot of people. But even if you bought a brand new machine since then and you've essentially paid for Windows 10, you're forced to give up your personal information as well, which is a shame. Allow apps to access your camera. It allows me to at least choose here, kind of like on a phone, which apps I want to be able to access my camera. I have no idea what a feedback hub is. Desktop app web viewer. No idea what that is, but looks like most of this is turned off. All right, notifications. So there's just, I'm already bored, and you probably are too, going through all of these things that you have to manage here to try to keep any privacy at all. It's kind of a shame. So here's the end result. Microsoft Windows 10s is a complete bust. The Microsoft Store is still a disaster, in my opinion. They don't even allow their own apps to be installed. There's a lot of knockoff apps. And if you go into each of these apps and look at the permissions, which at least they list out, it can be kind of disturbing to look at. Of course, one of the ones I hate the most, Facebook here. So if we go here, we can look at what Facebook wants. Use your location, use your webcam, use your microphone, generate code dynamically. What does that mean? Like, I get location, potentially webcam for using whatever their equivalent to FaceTime is, and use your microphone maybe if you're using it. I guess, can you talk in Facebook? I'm out of Facebook. I'm not cool and into the Facebook crowd and all that crap. But generate code dynamically. I don't know what that means. Access your internet connection. Use your picture library. Use your video library. So definitely look at the permissions, but at least they offer that option here. But Microsoft Store is kind of a mess. It looks like it's really good for gaming, but doesn't have a lot of choices and things outside of that for productivity wise anyways. And you certainly don't have a lot of options, selection of choices here to use. And which is interesting because Microsoft loves Linux and loves open source, supposedly. At least that's what they say now. So you would think a lot of those open source and free applications would be a great way for them to fill their store with lots of great options out there. Instead, we kind of still have this mess thing here. I don't like, again, how they did the S mode thing and kind of scaring people into keeping their tablet pretty much not very functional out of the box. And I don't like the fact that they force you to keep Edge on. But overall, responsiveness on this device is very good. I really love the hardware. Microsoft knocked it out of the park when it comes to the hardware. The keyboard that comes with the tablet, without a doubt, the Surface Line is the most functional tablet out that you could actually be productive on. The problem is it's just not very functional with Windows 10 S mode. Windows 10 by itself, now that I can install all these apps myself, makes it at least a little more usable. But I really enjoy having Linux on this tablet, so that's an option for you to check out. So there you go. there's our exploration into Windows 10. Now I'm going to see if I can get Pop! OS back on this thing, but I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. If you haven't checked out Windows in a while and all this stuff that they're trying to sell you on the side and advertising and privacy settings and all that nonsense, you're welcome. I suffered for you on your behalf. Check out Destination Linux Network, destinationlinux.network. If you need more content, you want to discuss this episode in the forums there, consider becoming a patron of this show if you want to support more content, more hardware reviews and such. And until next time, get out there and fill your brain.
Don't forget to subscribe.